So we're going to talk about 5 simple ways that you can implement that will help you master discipline. That way you can achieve anything that you want in your life. Okay. Uh, this is going to be a super simple video, no fancy graphics, editing or nothing. Straight to the point. Raw, honest, based on my own experience. Okay. So I'm using the iPad here because I'm going to be drawing some stuff, and I'm going to put this on the screen here so you can follow alongside with me. But first thing that you want to do, if you realize that you have tried things in the past that did not work so far, or you weren't able to follow through with what you said you wanted, is eliminate as much as you can from your plate, right? So make sure to cut things down. And I don't know, I think we all just overload our backs with things that do not move the needle forward in the long run. This could be chores, errands, even, meetings that are not getting you where you want to be in your life. So it's very difficult to keep pursuing your goals and the things that you want if all your time is being spent on trivial things, right? So that creates a problem, which is, which things should you cut out of your calendar or your schedule? Which things should you keep? Because we often make this mistake of associating a meeting or some other stuff with making progress, when the truth of the matter is we're just being busy and feeling like we're making progress, right? I think the key word is feeling. If you feel like you're making progress, that means that you aren't sure. You don't know. If you're making progress, you should have data that will dispute any sort of feeling. There's no feelings that should be taken in consideration anymore. You actually have the data, the factual data that you can go out of, and you'll know for sure. So, number one, cut things out of your life, eliminate them as much as you can. All right. Then you have number two here, which is, once you have eliminated as many things as you can, and you're only doing what moves the needle forward towards the direction that you're trying to go in your own life, I would implement them with simplicity. I know the KISS acronym is a funny one, right? Keep it simple, stupid. Keep it super simple. So just make sure that you are simplifying things, right? If you have to, let's say your goal is to lose 10 pounds and you want to look shredded, and you're just trying to go on this crazy, ginormous diet that you've never done in the past, the odds that you're going to follow through with that is very hard. It's hard to go from 0 to 100 in one goal, right? You should ease into things. That way you give your time and yourself some, I guess, wiggle room to adapt to whatever is actually happening, or the transformations that you're going through, right? So if you're eating like a junk all the time, and then all of a sudden you're like, hey, I'm going to become a carnivore, and I'm only going to eat, carnivore and whatever, or I'm going to adopt keto, or whatever you're going to do, the shock you're going to give your body and your mind is so ginormous that they're going to play tricks on you, try to go back right where you started from. So keep it simple. Change one thing at a time. Go slow to then get permanent results. The problem with this drastic approach is not that it doesn't work. It's just that it doesn't work for the majority of people, because they tend to go back exactly where they started from. It's a shock, right? It's very hard, or it's very difficult to find somebody that has this mental toughness right off the bat to endure such a change. Once you have that in place, we then move to number three, which is identity based goals versus results, right? So here we're going to focus on identity, not results anymore. And Atomic Habits, which is a James Clear book, talks about this in detail. So I highly recommend that you read it so you can understand it deeper. But we're talking about discipline only. Now, if you were to think about the reason why people do not follow through or they just give up on their discipline, is because majority of the time they are doing something for a result that it seems to be so further away to achieve or out of reach that they just give up, right? For example, let's say you are 100 pounds overweight and your goal is to lose 50 pounds in 3 months, and by month number 3 you only lost 15 pounds, which is a massive, massive result, but you did not meet the expectations that you created for yourself, which means you're going to give up majority of the time. Now, this is a result oriented goal. Your goal was to lose 50 pounds in 90 days. Now, if you had an identity goal, which is I want to become healthier, I want to look healthier, I want to look shredded or leaner, I will become a healthy person. What does a healthy person do? Essentially, they eat correctly, they exercise, most likely they go to bed at a certain time. They have implicit in what that means, there's already contained so many healthy habits that will get you to where you want to be. So if you shift from your way of thinking from results oriented thinking to identity focused thinking, process oriented, this will massively help your discipline. You all of a sudden you realize that you don't have to put a lot of effort into the discipline. It's almost like it's your mind starts to just show you the right path. Of course, it's not going to be a breeze. We're not talking about, oh, all of a sudden I can do everything, like a flip of a switch. That's not what I'm talking about, but it will definitely help, right? And because of this help that you're going to get from your brain telling you that you're a different person, that the person that you are associating yourself with, this identity that you're creating, is so different, you then move to the next step of this 5-step approach that we're discussing, which is you will start to talk back to that voice in your mind that wants to sabotage you. So let's say one day you just wake up and you don't want to get out of bed. You notice that, like, because you have this identity that you've been building, you will be able to be aware of this thought that is in your mind and this voice that is trying to get you out of doing the things that you need to do to achieve the things that you want out of your life. And the fourth step here is just to talk back. When I say talk back, what I mean is, hey, if you notice that this thought is running through your mind that, like, oh, I don't have to exercise today, I already lost the 40 pounds, you just talk back. It's like, no, I'm not looking to lose the weight. I'm just a healthy person. Would a healthy person go to the gym or not? Eat the donut or eat the veggies? Eat the meat or eat the junk food, right? If you're talking about relationships, would a good husband, wash the dishes for the wife by the time that she comes home? They can actually enjoy the time together, or would I just be upset and angry and let my relationship go down the drain? You will start to have this conversation constantly with yourself, and that is what's going to move the needle forward. So this is talk back, right? There's a voice that will be constantly playing in your mind, trying to get you to what's familiar, to what's comfortable, and you have to talk back to the voice. So start doing that, start practicing that, start implementing that on the smallest little details that you can notice that are trying to sabotage you, and you see a massive, massive gain after all. And then last but not least is implement harder tasks, right? So like anything else in life, we gotta progress, right? If you're not moving forward, if you're not making progress, we tend to revert back to where we came from. It's just a natural way of being that we humans are wired that way. So as you start noticing that things are getting easier, You got to keep challenging yourself. If you're exercising and you've been running for the past 30, 60, 90 days, let's say 5 miles every other day, push it now to 6, because that will require that you develop a little bit more discipline, and that will increase the level of discipline and the level of tasks that you can implement without going back to ground zero. So this is a simple one, but it's very important. Start adding to the things that you're doing so that you can actually make more progress, become better, see other areas of your life that you might have been lacking discipline in the past improve as well. And here's a bonus tip, okay? So let's say you've been doing those things so far as we've been discussing, and you're mastering the discipline, and you're just noticing that you're accomplishing everything else. The bonus tip that I have for you is, don't ever, ever, ever give yourself a wiggle room or an inch in saying that it's okay not to do what you said you were going to do. This is almost like a little crack on a dam, right? It starts very minimal, and some water goes through, and then that crack starts to open up, and then all of a sudden you just have a massive disaster because you gave yourself this pat on the back and allowed yourself to just go back to where you started. So never ever tell yourself that it's okay not to do the things that need to be done, as long as they need to be done for you. Don't let anybody else tell you what to do. You have to decide what those things are for you and keep them in check. Do it all the time. Make sure that you're doing them no matter what. Do it. So the second part of this bonus tip is, if you notice that you are trying to revert back, a good way of coming, or actually a good way of preventing that this revert back, is never let things happen twice. If you slipped today and you didn't go to the gym, or you didn't do what you said you was going to do, don't let that happen twice. That is key. Don't let that become a vicious cycle where all of a sudden you're just going to lose all the growth that you got and the results that you've been getting, and this transformation, incredible transformation for your identity that you've been getting so far. Because it would be very, very, I guess, degrading for your own ability and your own mindset and your way of thinking, because you're not keeping the promises that you made to yourself, which essentially tell to your subconscious that you are not the type of person that follow through what you say you're going to do. All right, so I hope you got some value out of this video, and if you did, watch this one next. I think you might enjoy it.